Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another day, another week, another episode of 30 NSG. On today's show, we have a lot other... I had three stories, but then as I was getting ready for the show, I was like, there's other things I want to talk about. Multiverses just came out with a video, so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about PlayStation. Not many people are running the story here. But PlayStation 5 owners lose access to hundreds of games as digital purchases are wiped out their accounts. It's not a massive, widespread thing, but I just want to talk about it a little bit. And then we're also going to talk about, people are talking about how games are dead, didn't make sales, but the media runs with one is popular, one is the other. If one game sells 200,000 copies, it's a blockbuster. If the other one sells 200,000 copies, it's an actual flop. We're going to follow the trail a little bit. I saw a bunch of articles. I pulled up a bunch of different websites, and I do everything live, right? So there's no kind of planned here. I'm just kind of going to piece things together on the fly with you guys. So that's how we do it. Appreciate very much that you show up every single morning, Monday through Thursday, from 10 o'clock in the morning to about noon Eastern. If you like what we do here, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, you become a member as little as $5. Lower the music just a little bit more. What's going on, Z? What's going on, Citizen Group? What's going on, E? Or L? Behemoth Titan, Robert Jones. Krebsy, what's going on? Good morning, good morning. Helldivers 2, mechs feel like a toy random guy. Mike, you ever think about making farm content? I said nope in chat, and I said, why, you want me to? You know, a little bit, Jones, I did think of it a while ago. I was like, should I make farm content? I was like, I don't really like doing that shit. I really don't. Like, you know me. I say what I want. And I don't know if I should do it. Farming's pretty popular on YouTube. Yeah, I know. So is a lot of things. And I don't do any of them. And that's why my channel's not successful. I do understand that. You know what I mean? The music feels louder than normal, doesn't it? Oh, that's why. I was like, why is the music so fucking loud? All right, give me a second. There we go. going from chair to farm, a lot more work. Well, you know what it is? It's like I don't want my content to be farm. I don't want drama with other channels or anything like that. Like, I find it funny that people, don't get me wrong, I like watching certain content, right? That are like drama goes on. Like there was a whole drama thing with two curators and stuff. I'll watch all that stuff, like the blindfold run and stuff like that. You know, but for the most part, I don't really like that drama stuff. And I definitely don't want to be a part of that drama stuff, because to me, someone's like, well, you're allowed to have your opinion, but if you have your opinion, we're going to shit on your opinion. And then they're going to give you their opinion, but their opinion is better than the other person's opinion. And they'll defend their opinion until they're dead. But the other person, if they defend their opinion, they're scum. It's like, okay. It just kind of weird to me. What's going on, Kylo? You built a mini PC for emulation only over the weekend. Oh, nice. L says, Sean Layden said that the juice isn't worth the squeeze when it comes to single-player AAA games going day and date. Sean Layden, is that the guy who used to be the head of Sony, right? He used to be the head of Sony? What's going on, Rose? Got your hands on the mech last night? Yeah, this weekend they were giving it free drops for the mech. Or at least the day I played. What was it, Friday, Saturday night? They were giving it as the free stratagem that you could drop. I like using the mech. I thought the mech was pretty cool. Let me bring up chat here. The mech was pretty cool. It felt a little weak at times. There was one moment that I was in the mech and it just blew up by itself. Nothing touched me. I was like, oh, this is interesting. But then there was another time I was inside the mech. I was playing with Takashi the other night, and we were going around the whole map with the mechs. It was cool. We were also on level 3 because I was like soloing, and then he came in to help me. Or just hang out with me, I should say. All right, so first thing I want to talk about is no one's talking about this story. Okay? Nobody. There's one story. Okay? One outlet that I could find. Okay? It's Metro Entertainment. Okay? And I'm bringing this up for more of a public service announcement. And this might be happening to you, or it might happen to you, and you'll be like, what the hell happened? I just want to make you sure that you're not the only person this is happening to. This is me not shitting on PlayStation 5 in any way, shape, or form. There's been things happening over the last couple of months where they take certain things away from you. People defend it because they love sleeping with their plastic boxes. I'm giving you the information based on this article that I came across over the weekend. I forgot to post it, and I posted it this morning in our submitted stories. Okay. The PlayStation 5 owners lose access to hundreds of games as a digital purchase wiped from their accounts. Now, this hasn't been updated, so this still is going on. If there's any updates to it, I'll let you guys know more. It says a strange bug is removing people's games on PlayStation 4 and 5 and Vita, and Sony doesn't have a fix. Okay? It wasn't long ago when PlayStation sparked fan outrage when it said it would remove discovery video content from people's libraries, even though they paid for it. Now, PlayStation later backtracked, but similar unintentional issues has now come up, and random bug that is wiping digital games from people's libraries. Okay? The bug is affecting PlayStation 4 and 5 and PS Vita, and the fans are certainly not happy about it. At least 50 PlayStation owners have reported their digital games are going missing. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, 50, what does that matter? It matters for those 50 people, and if you were one of these people that your whole library got deleted and they couldn't help you and they don't know what the problem is, you would be pissed off too. It said one affected by the bug went on Reddit and explained what's going on and vented their frustration, and they can no longer access their games. Okay, in the post, he has attracted others with the same problem. So for the last month, there has been a bug impacting a relatively small amount of PlayStation Network users, in which all digital license, including purchased games and titles added to one library's PlayStation Plus, become decoupled from your transaction history, which shows the purchase of those things. Okay, so DS said there are also, or I should say DSUDS said there's also in their post. The bug wipes games from your account, and it makes it worse. He adds that if you're affected by this bug, you can't re-download the missing games as your PlayStation account won't let you. Because I'm never buying a digital game from PlayStation again. Horrible customer service. Problem, terrible practices towards customers, replied DTV. It says another poster pleaded for answers and got lost access over 400 of his games after trying to restore them once the bug hit their account, adding. He says, I'm a PlayStation user since PlayStation 3 has been an account bug is really bad. Hope Sony and PlayStation give the solution. And if someone knows how to resolve this huge problem, please let us know, GNT0 said. Now, DSUDS became aware of this bug when he tried to launch Helldivers 2, but got an error message, the CE1177773-6. They then tried to restore license, and then the account settings, which wiped their library. The advice against trying to restore the license, as they believe that this is what triggered the bug in the first place. Now, PlayStation has yet to comment on the issue publicly because it's aware of, according to the DSUDS, Metro has also reached out to Sony for comment. Okay, it says another poster has also kept from everyone affected by the bug, with almost 50 people reporting the same issue, and some of which said started a month ago. Though it doesn't appear to affect most players, the library wiping bug would be a huge problem if Sony is escalated any further. So here's the just the info for you guys. If you find out yourself if it's happening, this is happening over a month. Now, only 50 people are reporting this. Nobody, okay, and this is what pisses me off a little bit about the media in journalism, okay? As me and Sarge have been saying, journalists, okay? When one person talks about something, they all mimic the same thing. When something is an actual problem, they don't report it at all. But if one person on Twitter has a problem with a game, they make 17 articles about it, about someone's unhappy with this in this particular game. There's people, yes, it's only 50 as of right now, okay? But nobody's writing about this, of the problem of everyone's library being completely, gone. Now, back in December, the Discovery thing happened with PlayStation as well, and people defended saying, well, it was Discovery and not PlayStation, and other people said there's other games that were coming off Sony, but they were like, no, it's not Sony's problem, blah, blah, blah. Here's yet another story, okay, where people's libraries are getting completely wiped out. say what you want. If it's, this is not a I hate Sony or this is a Microsoft thing. I'm just giving you information. If you're having this issue or you happen to come across this issue, this is what's happening. You're not the only person this is happening to. But this is some BS, if you ask me. Like, complete library is completely wiped out. Never a good thing. But they haven't said anything about it to, to say, well, we're working on it. They know it. They said nothing. But yet these people still don't actually have, okay, they still actually don't have a solution for this, because it's still happening to people that own a PlayStation 5. So there you go. This is just a bigger issue in the life, is that when digital games are happening, because all the games are going to become digital at some point, right? A lot of us like to buy the physical copies of the games. We've had this conversation until I blew in the face. Even when you have a physical copy, you still don't own the actual game anymore. You're buying a license. Now this opens up to a bigger conversation, right? Because people always have been saying, well, if I buy a digital copy and I don't actually own the game, then if PC gamers, if they, pirate the game, is that actually against the law? But technically, if you don't own the game, when you purchase the game, then if you download the game by pirating it, then it's actually not stealing it, right? Because technically you don't own it there either. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Are you one of the people, as of this report on Monday, March 11th, okay, are you one of the 50 people that had this happen to them where you can't access any of your libraries on PlayStation 4, 5, or PS Vita? Let me know in the comment section down below. What do you think about this as far as digital? Because this is happening to Sony right now. This could also happen to Xbox in the future. This could happen to Nintendo. Anybody that has digital stuff, anytime there's a problem like this, you lose access to all of your media. This is a big problem. Let me know in the comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, and subscribe. And if you like what we do here, check out some of our other videos. Thanks for watching. All right, let's see what you guys are saying here. You need to get rid of the stratagem, but keep it as one of the time use. I don't see a lot of people using it. I played a little Helldivers this weekend. I played a couple of matches this weekend. I would say about another hour or so, hour and a half. Robert Jones says, scary stuff. I had a PlayStation 5 green screen last night. What's a green screen? I don't know what that is, Jones. What? Negative PlayStation not being reported? You don't say. What's going on, Artemis? When 30 accidentally answers a question you have, cha-ching. What question did you have, Krebsy? What was the question that I answered? Silent Warrior says, restore your license. Nah, we could take all of them. Man, I only have 3 physical games on PlayStation 5 and dozen of digital ones. Sony wiping out the Funimation libraries as well. Right. They're like merging the one to the other, right? And if you had one, you lose the other type of thing with Crunchyroll, right? Is that what you're talking about, Artemis? If buying isn't owning, then pirate isn't stealing. That's right, Jones. That's right. All games I'm emulating have on my shelf. Haha, I just wanted to upscale resolution or more frames per second. I would like to know the region of those 50. It doesn't say. Let me see. It doesn't say what region. I believe this person that's playing, he's playing in the United States, if I'm not mistaken. This is the thing he posted. Recommended anyone restore the license, more frustration. Okay, here it says there's a fix coming in March, with some people specifically saying March 21st for store U.S. users, as well as AFAIK unsustainability rumors and fixes have already rolled out for the UK and Canada. So it's happening all over the world. It's happening all over the world. All information about the, because Sony won't talk about it, and no gaming news outlets are reporting this on either. It says, edit. Thanks to all the people pointing out to me that this is on me for buying digital. Maybe you're right. I'll buy a fair amount of games physically, do not all. I also PlayStation Plus, like many other people here, and being impacted in the same way. Pretty sure PlayStation Plus is digital only, and they're also indie games. They also can literally only purchase digitals. Well, PlayStation Plus is a little different, right? PlayStation Plus, like if I stop paying for Game Pass, I don't have access to Game Pass. If I stop paying for PlayStation Plus, I don't get access to PlayStation Plus, right? But buying the actual games, that's the problem. It says, edit 2, at least one user asked for proof, and I thought I'd share some of it, so I think it's valuable for people to see that I'm just not making this up. Some added context. See, I love this, right? So this is his post, and in his edit, people are asking, well, you gotta tell us this. Because people just don't want to believe it, right? People don't want to believe this is happening. Because they want to defend these companies to their death, right? They don't want to believe someone that said this is happening to. Someone just wants to make up shit. Because they want to protect Sony or Microsoft or Nintendo or Epic, whatever it is, whatever company you're in bed with, that they don't give two shits about you. Gotta have proof. Gotta have proof. You don't have proof? Yeah, I have proof. I can't access my fucking library. There's my proof. Right? Right? And at 3, the amount of people who feel the need to tell me that's what you get for buying digital. Like this is an isolated issue affecting 0.0000%, 1% of the PlayStation user base is some predictable scenario. It's astonishing. This is not a physical versus digital issue. It's a bug. If there was a bug rendering your disk drive useless, then zero chance you're subjected to a parade of digital soapboxers like this. And at 4, a few updates for anyone following. For more users are having the issue fixed, the account restored a month to the day after losing access. Shortened confirmed fix time aware of, and confirming the initial Sony offered no compensation. But after being pressed for it, Sony gave them a code for 1 month of PlayStation Plus Premium. So there you go. There's your proof, right? They know it's happening. They're fixing it. And then they didn't give anything in for your inconvenience until they were being pressed. Then Sony was like, you know what? Gesture of goodwill, in my opinion, right? Here you go. Here's a PlayStation Plus Premium for 1 month, right? Because it doesn't cost them anything. What's going on, Ghost? Some users have been starting to receive more tangible timelines. One told 3 to 4 days. Other one told 10 days. Those timelines are far shorter than what it would have been actually been experiencing, and hopefully a sign of Sony accelerating the process of addressing this. This makes sense. It probably won't come to a surprise to anyone, but the physical copies of games you've purchased digitally do work normally. I wonder if they would, just on the chance that they also have some account level block with these games. But I tried last night with the borrowed physical copy of 2 of the digital games, and both worked normally, including DLC of the Gran Turismo 7. So there you go. If you have the physical disc, this is not happening. It's only happening to digital, at least with his testing. Okay? So there you go. I love the fact that I gotta see proof. You're just lying. Didn't happen to me, so it didn't happen. Oh, it's like the blue screen PC crash, but green. Got it. Can't wait to get back to try Multiverses. Yeah, May 28th. We're going to show that in a second, Dustin. Wonder if PayPal would cover my games not existing anymore. I buy all my digital games through PayPal. You could try that, Kylo. And this has to have been reported as multiple stories on Google and videos on YouTube about this issue. Yeah, but where are all the articles? All of these articles are happening in the last couple days? Let's see. Metro's the only one. The Verge, the last time they reported anything like this was December 5th, December 3rd, and they're all talking about the digital stuff that was coming over. Yeah, there's no... The only things popping up with PC5 owners losing access to hundreds of games, that's the exact terminology here. PC owners losing access to hundreds of accounts, right? Let's see. 3 days ago, MSN, PlayStation 5 owners lose access. Okay, Metro, Indy 100. Yeah, these are big time websites. These are big time websites. Where's all the rest of them? We have Metro, Indy 100, and MSN. You see what I'm saying? I'm covering it. I have less than 2,500 people that subscribe to me, right? Titan says, what games were wiped? Their entire accounts, Titan, not games. Their entire accounts. It's just ridiculous, right? But then you'll get articles of people trolling, and you'll get 15 articles from all the major medias talking about stuff. Oh, and that's another great thing, right? I'm not going to talk about the major conversation here, right? But on GXG on Thursday, there was no one covering the Sweet Baby Inc. type of stuff. But the people that are covering it are talking about like Sweet Baby Inc. is the problem, and that's not what the problem is. And then PC Gamer, Eurogamer, Kotaku, all these other articles come out, and they're all defending what Sweet Baby Inc. is, and literally, that's not what people are complaining about. Sweet Baby Inc. is the main focus that people are hitting on, but it's a bigger problem within the industry itself. And it's not just Sweet Baby Inc. in the video game industry. It's about stuff that's happening in just entertainment field across the board. But nobody's actually telling the actual right story, right? They don't report on the people that are being racist and stuff against the gamers. They're just reporting about the people that this is not what Sweet Baby Inc. is, right? This is what the main media type does, right? They'll cover stupid stories, or they won't cover major stories because they're trying to all work together, okay? Then you have problems like this with Sony where people's libraries are getting completely deleted, and 3 minuscule outlets are the ones covering it. Nobody else is. I know it's only one of the outlets you mentioned there, but it's Kotaku. What do you mean, Krebsy? Did you see the post I did in Discord? Did you read all those articles? For the submitted stories? Right? All of these, right? You got one from PC Gamer. You got one from The Gamer. You got one from what's it? Game Reactor UK. You got the Mary Sue. You got Kotaku, right? They're all running with the story that they're all just parrots. They all just repeat themselves. This is why I posted all the stories there, right? This is why I posted all the stories, and I made it a separate thread, right? That if you care, and a lot of you don't, which is fine, okay? If you care, all those articles are there, and you can see what the direction they're trying to take it. That's a bad bug. Wipe out account, plus the users have an email receipt as proof. Yeah, there's a bunch of... right now, there's only 50 people, right? It could be more widespread that people don't understand or people don't know about it yet. But it took them over a month to respond to one of them. Now it's getting down to 10 days, 3 to 4 days. But the fact that they didn't say anything, right, is, I think, more telling than anything, right? Because they don't want to reward people with things. They're like, oh, there's a 1 month of PlayStation Plus. That's like the minimum they could do, right? I'm sorry, compared to Sean Lennon's comments compared to Peter Moore, and see which one gets more articles reporting these interviews. Anything negative PlayStation does not get the traction. I don't know if that's the case. And here, it is and it isn't. I agree and I disagree, right? And here's the reason, right? There's more people that own a PlayStation 5 than there is an Xbox, right? So you'll see more positive articles of PlayStation because that's the leader. I don't know if it's the Xbox. I know you didn't say it, but like the Xbox tax or anything like that. Okay, there are things out there, but if you just skim through social media, it does seem like there's a lean towards one side or the other, right? It all depends on who you're following and whatnot. Oh, you're saying joke. I'm making fun of the public perception. Sorry, Cubsy. Sometimes when I'm talking and then I see what the chat, like what you're saying in chat, I'm not connecting the points. So, Sony and most bugs companies would sweep under the rug until they couldn't. Right. Paul says, unfortunately, the shadow groups that have controlled news media years now have controlled the gaming media also. When you told to run stories, you run it. True. What's on, Ron? Purchase digital games being removed needs to be a bigger story. That's what I'm saying. That's right. That's what I'm saying. Right? 2,500 person channel, okay, is saying it, and it gets out into hello. Like nobody cares, right? So I try to tell at least the people that are in my channel, like, hey, this might be happening to you, right? This is me not like talking shit about Sony. This is me trying to tell you, hey, this could happen, and if this does happen to you, at least you know you're not alone, right? Out there. Everybody says, I said this before, I don't think threads work the way you think. Unless you see the start of the thread or get tagged directly the thread, no one will see it. So when you go to the thread, right, you don't see this underneath it, right? You don't see this thread underneath like I see it. Nobody sees this. Those that care about it, you don't see this under tag underneath the submitted story part. That doesn't pop up for anybody? Like, here's the submitted stories. Right? And then right underneath it is this. You don't see that. Interesting. So then how the fuck do threads work? How am I supposed to get... So when you highlight this, you just take your cursor and highlight it. It doesn't show the active threads? I wonder how it does it on Discord on the phone. Yeah, it shows up underneath my thing, but it doesn't show what's active. It just shows the one below it. You have to hover it. Right, that's what I'm saying. If you hover it, it doesn't show it should show the active ones, right? If you hover over it, but then underneath it doesn't show this, so it only shows it to me. What the fuck is the thread for then? What am I supposed to do? Put in thread and then put everyone in thread? That's kind of stupid. What's the point of a thread if no one can see the thread? I don't want people to opt out of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to blast it to everybody in the Discord if people are not interested. Be like, I don't want to read this shit. That's why I make a thread, and people are like, oh, submitted stories. Oh, there's a thread there. Let's see if you can see a thread that you don't create. All right, so create a thread. I can see threads on mobile. Yeah, I can see the threads on mobile. It's below the submitted story thing, right, Jones? Like it says submitted story and then it sees the thread? You have to click a few buttons. Yeah, so I see I see the one that you just did. Why waffles are better than pancakes. But that's me just highlighting over it, but it doesn't drop below. Now, if I click on that, now it pops up underneath here. See it? That's a tough question. Waffles or pancakes? I'm a chicken and waffles person. If I could put chicken with my waffles, then waffles. But if it's just waffles and pancakes, I think I gotta go with pancakes. You posted. Okay, so that's off of mobile. Threads, active threads. So you can click on it. So where do you click on that? Where do you click on that? On mobile. Oh, yeah. So you gotta, if you're on mobile, you gotta, like, you cover over submitted stories, you hold your thumb, it pops up, and you gotta scroll down to threads. And then when you hit threads, then it opens up the entire thing. Yeah. Thread Simulator, coming soon to Steam. Yeah, but see, it does this, though, Rebsy. When I click on submitted stories, inside it does show you there's a thread in there. Okay? And then on top of that, when I made the thread in submitted stories, back up here, because we did it, what, like last week before... The hell was it? Yeah, see, like, Dupless made a thread. It puts the thread down here. It puts it below, it says. A lot of people don't understand how to use Discord as well. And so when you might miss it. And here's another thing that people do when they submit stories to our Discord. They never actually go to Discord. They never go to Discord. They're submitting them from mobile. So they'll read an article, they'll share it, and then they just throw it into Discord. So that people are putting multiple stories in there as well, right? Because they're not actually reading that it was already submitted. What's going on, Mo?
Is there coffee? Settled.
All right, let's go on to the next thing. Next thing I want to talk about is Warner Brothers Multiverses. Let's hear this new video that's coming out. Or May 28th is when it's coming out, but let's hear them.
Well, what are we waiting for? Let's get to work.
Get ready to roll. Get centered. Showtime.
Sound. Showtime. Quiet.
Camera.
Scene one, take one, Mark.
Camera set. And
Action.
Hi everyone, I'm Tony, game director of Multiverses.
They moved to Unreal Engine 5. Did I see a difference? There's 4. So that's 5 and this is 4. Pre-launch. Beta. Oh wait, opposite. This is, and this is 5. I don't really see a difference. Do you? I mean, I see a slight. Oh, the lighting. Okay, the lighting around the hair and stuff like that. I see it. Okay. Yeah, on the shield. Yeah, I see it. The lighting is different. You see the shadows and stuff like that now. It's a little weird that they put it on a blank background like that, but yeah. Okay. So Unreal Engine 5
Is visuals and character lighting. So in other words, Shaggy sandwiches have never looked better.
Pastrami on ride!
We've rebuilt the game from the ground up to support our new netcode, to provide consistent, world-class
Is that why they took it down for a year? They rewrote the netcode from the ground up?
online play. So every hit, dodge, and batarang will be delivered with pinpoint accuracy. There'll be consistent game performance no matter what platform you're playing on. There'll be new attacks and combat mechanics for each character, putting more skill expression in your hands. We honestly can't wait to see what you come up with.
The balance of power is restored.
One of the things we're most excited to announce is a brand new PvE mode that'll offer a new way to play outside of competitive PvP. This new mode will introduce additional ways of playing with unique rewards.
I'm actually excited about that, right? I said this when we played it. I said I wish there was like a more of a PvE mode. So apparently I wasn't the only one. It was me and like 49 other people that wanted a PvE type of mode, because I don't really care about playing against other people competitively. I just kind of want to like casually play the game and unlock certain things. So that's cool.
I'm ready for more.
Lastly, we're thrilled to announce that we'll soon be launching the Illudium Q36 explosive space modulator that'll destroy the Earth.
Did he say there's rewards?
That'll offer a new way to play outside of competitive PvP. This new mode will introduce additional ways of playing with unique rewards.
Unique rewards, okay.
I'm ready for more.
Lastly, we're thrilled to announce that we'll soon be launching the Illudium Q36 explosive space modulator that'll destroy the Earth once and for all.
Marvin, stop hacking the teleprompter.
Your gadgets mean nothing, Earthman.
Take 3, Mark.
This is a small glimpse of what we have in store for Multiverses. We'll be sharing a lot more details in the coming weeks. From all of us at Player First Games and Warner Brothers Games, we cannot wait to play Multiverses with you on May 28th. Until then,
The end.
guys, I wasn't done.
So literally it's been gone for almost 1 full year. Almost 1 full year since it was here last. Because it stopped in June. The beginning of June. Right? Was it the beginning of June last year? I think it was the beginning of June last year is where they basically closed it off. So here's WB's plan in motion, right? They want the more live service games coming out where they're taking the IPs and whatnot. And I've said this when Multiverse came out the year before, not when it ended last year, but the year before when it came out in, 2022, we were talking about it. I said Multiverse is a cool thing because they can constantly just bring in new IP or characters from their IPs and constantly make money off of that, right? And they made a lot of money off of the Multiverses. So Smash is greater than Multiverses, but I don't like those type of games. Sure, but Smash is only on Nintendo. And now the Multiverses is basically everywhere, right? Except Nintendo. So potentially it has more possibility of more money because they're going out to more platforms combined. Okay, because it's on Steam, it's on Xbox One, Xbox Series S, X, it's on PlayStation 4 and 5. So, and WB needs that money, and I think they'll make good money off of it. It was a popular thing until they kind of screwed with the competitiveness. All right. The next story I want to talk about, and this is sort of a hodgepodge of things. Like I read one thing that I think Eclipse posted it, or was it Magic? I forget. Dolphin. One of you guys posted something in Discord about Suicide Squad being third on the list, right? And I thought it was funny because everyone's always like, the game didn't sell well, the game didn't sell well. Okay? And I kind of went down the rabbit hole a little bit and started looking at certain things, right? So PlayStation Store, February 2024, top downloads. Now, obviously, this is just PlayStation, right? This is just PlayStation. And everyone is hyped because Helldivers 2 in the United States, Canada, and the EU was #1 across the board. Okay? Now, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth was #2 on the board. Okay? And this is February, right? This is for February. Okay? Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and that came out at the very tail end of February. So it was like the 28th, 27th when it launched. And that was #2. Okay? #3, okay, on the list was Suicide Squad for the US and Canada. And Suicide Squad was 7th or 8th spot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 was the 8th spot. Okay? Now, again, media runs with low numbers on Steam, not very successful, right? But then you have the same people that say, well, Helldivers, right, is selling really well on PlayStation, and it's also selling well on Steam, and people would fight you on it if there was more people playing on PlayStation or more people playing on Steam, okay? Final Fantasy, they said, oh, it's selling really well, but then there's articles, we'll get to in a second, that say that Rebirth is not selling very well, okay? We don't have hard numbers. We have, like, guesstimations of what it is, right? Now, Suicide Squad came out early access in the end of January and then came out in February, right? And it was 3rd on the list, 7th on the list on EU, 3rd on the list in Canada and the US, but no one's playing it, right? Imagine the thought process here, right? People will fight you that more people are playing on PlayStation than PC for Helldivers, but then when Sony, or when people want to look at, not Sony, Suicide Squad over on Steam, they're like, no one's playing the game, even though it's 3rd on the list on PlayStation, right? It's like, which one do you want? Okay? So, to look at this, I kind of went down the list and said, okay, well, what's happening here? What's sold a lot? Okay? So, we got Helldivers. Mind you, articles written by IGN just a little over a month ago said that Suicide Squad went on sale faster than any game before, and people will this. And then Helldivers gets a limited time discount for PC and now includes a free Steam game as well, right? And they said when games go on sale within the first month, they say, well, it's got problems. Yet the same company that said that posts a thing that says Helldivers 2 limited time discount, right? Went on sale. I don't know what that means, right? You decide what that means. Okay? Then we have Helldivers. 2 has sold way more than 5 million copies. It's not even on Xbox yet. Okay? We're just taking the number, 5 million units, right? So let's go back to here. So total between Steam and PlayStation, let's just say we split that in half, right? Let's just say we take that 5 million, loose number, very generic, 5 million. Everyone said it was 50-50. So there's 2.5 million people over here and 2.5 million on Steam for basic math across the board, okay? So Helldivers sold 2.5 million. Now, Final Fantasy, you would say, is a little less than that, and then Suicide Squad would be a little less than that in the month of February, right? So we could say 1 million, right? 1 million. I would say that'd be fair for Suicide Squads, right? Because Madden's there and Call of Duty's there, okay? So then we go to Final Fantasy. In Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, you know, it says lags behind the previous entries of physical sales. Now, again, these are loose numbers. On the PlayStation 5, okay? Now, this is only in the UK, I believe. Okay, it says the RPG has sold 262,000 physical units, which at the first glance is impressive, but previous entries have blown it out of water. Rebirth's prequel example managed around 700,000 physical copies in April. Meanwhile, bearing the remakes of Final Fantasy 16 sold 336,000 units, right? So the actual physical units, okay, right now is 262. Okay, now, again, this is only physical stuff that we know about within the UK that we can actually tell. Okay, so let's go back to here. Okay. So, the EU physical rebirth, Final Fantasy Rebirth, about a little less than 300,000. Okay, obviously, a lot more people bought it digitally than physically, right? I would say it's closer to 1 million or whatnot. So, we do know Suicide Squad sold more on PlayStation than it sold anywhere else. So, I said around about 3 million copies sold, and people were telling me there's no way it sold 3 million copies, but yet it's third on the list, right? It's third on the list. Okay. Then on this list, okay, this is the Helldivers 2 tops the PlayStation charts for February. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth comes in second, right? This is another list, right? You come down here, and you can see, like, Call of Duty. Let me go to the, oh, this is what I wanted, right? So you come down here, and you see Tekken 8. Tekken 8's at the 11th spot, okay? The 11th spot. Now, Tekken, okay, sales figures for Tekken 8 sales past 2 million. Okay, the latest result or release for Tekken's franchise was sure to be one of the biggest fighting games of 2024. Okay, so now if we look at this, Tekken sold 2 million copies. Okay, total. Okay, and that sits at number 11 on the list. Okay, for US, and it sits at number 14 for the EU. But total, Tekken sold 2 million copies. And so if Tekken sold 2 million copies, that means the rest of these games sold more than 2 million copies, right? Right? Because numbers don't really, like, lie. So if we have a physical number and we have a list and Tekken sold 2 million copies, then we know that these games, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, sold more copies than Tekken because Tekken sold 2 million copies, right? Tekken also released in January. That's correct, Krebsy. Tekken released the 28th, right? Is that the day? Let's see. Tekken 8 release date. Yeah, January 26th. Okay, January 26th. Okay. So what you're saying is 1.9 million sold in January, but nothing sold after that, right? Is that what we're going to say? I don't know. Right? My point is that Tekken sold 2 million copies. Right? Tekken's also on sale, right? But games don't go on sale right away, Dolphin, right? Games don't go on sale right away, right? My point is that people say one game is dead and the other game is not. But yet the game that's dead sat higher up on the other list than everybody else. So... All right, let's just say what you said, Krebsy. Okay, Tekken also released in January. So did Suicide Squad. Because it came out early access and people paid $70 to $100, right? Okay, so what's the actual thing here that we're talking about, right? People say, well, this game is garbage. The other game is not garbage. This one sold a lot. This one didn't sell, right? We're just talking about numbers that sold on PlayStation. Okay, now we know Tekken sold, it wasn't just on PlayStation, okay? It came out for all the consoles. It came out for PC, it came out for Xbox. It sold 2 million copies. Okay, that was 11th on the list. Okay, Suicide Squad also came out for all the systems, and yet people can't believe, okay, it sold more than, 3 million or 4 million copies because it's a shit game. Okay, but at the same time, they already got all the money up front, just like Tekken, just like Helldivers, just like Final Fantasy Rebirth, okay? And my point is that articles are written, right? So obviously we have an article that says right here by Paul Tassi, right? Skull and Bones looks like it's doing worse than Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. Yeah, I guess as a live service game, sure, but people had to buy the game, right? They had to buy the game, and once the company has your money, it doesn't matter if you play it or not after the fact, right? It doesn't matter if you play it or not, because you paid the money up front. You paid $70. You paid $100 for this game. They have your money. That's it. It counts as a sale. They have your money. It goes into the bank. They get it 60 days later. They deposit that in the bank, and that's what happens. Right, Mo? Right, Suicide Squad game that people had a hate boner for. That's right. Third on the list. It was number 1 on the list For majority of the time, it was on PlayStation. It was the #1 pre-selling game for PlayStation, by the way, and also on Steam at the time. And then on top of that, okay, it's now launching at the end of this month on Epic Games for people that want to buy it there as well, right? My whole point of this is that when articles come out and tell you that a game is not selling well, or a company coming out and saying it underperformed, everyone's like, well, underperform means that it didn't sell at all. Well, when they came out and told you that it underperformed year over year from the last game that came out the year before, which was Hogwarts Legacy, and Hogwarts Legacy sold 15 million copies. So by that means every game underperformed because that's the #1 selling game of last year. Okay? And this is what I'm talking about with articles and people that write stuff, and they make it seem like a game is worse than it is, right? So in the public perception, yes, Suicide Squad, as Elle is saying, Suicide Squad is a garbage. It's garbage, though. Sure. Garbage or not, Elle, millions of people bought the game, right? Millions of people bought that game. They paid $70 to $100 to get it early access in January, late January, before February 3rd, before it launched, okay? So regardless if the game was garbage or not, it sold millions of copies. Al says, Mike, the newest episode of the podcast Unlocked just aired, and they just spent at least 10 minutes bashing Suicide Squad again, completely sidelining their conversation. It's embarrassing at this point. It's amazing to me the amount of people that hate on any game. Just remove Suicide Squad when someone talks so much about a game that they dislike more than the game as they like. Okay. See, I'm talking about the media and how they report stuff. And if you follow the breadcrumbs, you can tell they're full of shit. Not all media, majority of the media, because they parrot each other. Helldivers pooping on Suicide Squad? But why do you say it that way, Elle? Why don't you say that Helldivers is pooping on everything? You see what I'm saying? You would make a great journalist to make a great title to make it look like one game is beating another game when Helldivers is the most successful game right now in the early part of the year. Mandalorian says, 30, should we worry about the future of Xbox? No. Why? Why would you worry about the Xbox? Do you work for Xbox? Unless you know something we don't, Mandalorian, I don't know why you would worry. Roic says, I just got Suicide Squad this weekend because it went on sale. Jones says, Helldivers is pooping on everything. Exactly. Right, Fortnite must be dead because it's free. Crowded House says, Spider-Man underperformed too. I keep hearing people say we're going to be, it's going to be funny when the game comes on Game Pass. Like, that's a bad thing. Like, they don't know the people that get paid to put games on Game Pass. Right. Right, Eclipse. No, as a consumer. But why do you think the Xbox is dead? You let me know why you think Xbox is in trouble. In what form does Xbox look like it's in trouble? So let me get this straight. Sea of Thieves, which has been on Xbox for the last 5 years, is now going to PlayStation. And Sea of Thieves right now is the #1 pre-ordered game on PlayStation. An Xbox title, #1 on PlayStation. You let me know if Microsoft's in trouble. Helldivers is the most overrated game I've ever seen. Dolphin says, I believe that the theory that someone at Rocksteady fucked someone's wife. Yeah, I'm telling you, something happened there. Sales don't dictate game quality. It could be indicator, but it's not one-to-one comparison. We're not even talking about the quality of the game, though, Krebsy. We're talking about the game sales that happen, right? And if Suicide Squad's a shit game, it sold more than 3 million copies. Potentially just on PlayStation. Potentially 3 million copies just on PlayStation. Mo says, I got a question. I got a question. Been given a roadmap of what's coming. What's to come. So worry for what? Oh, you're talking about Suicide Squad? Yeah, I don't understand. I thought because there was going to be digital only that will hurt gaming. Is Steam hurting? Is Steam hurting because everything's digital? $50K sales games can be 10 out of 10, and 10 million sale games can be 3 out of 10. Right. Yeah, Call of Duty sells every year. How aren't we talking about game quality when you said people are saying Suicide Squad is shit? Suicide Squad is not a shit game. It is not a shit game. Is Suicide Squad higher or lower than Redfall? Is it higher or lower than Gollum? Is it higher or lower than the Walking Dead game, the King Kong game? Right? What is a shit quality in your opinion for a number? Vandal says, folks that think Xbox is dead are listening to griefing PlayStation fanboy pundits on YouTube that lie to their audiences. Eclipse says, no, Valve hasn't made a game in 12 years. I don't think the money that they get from Steam is hurting them at all. I didn't say it's good or bad. I'm asking you. You said, how aren't we talking about quality when I said, people are saying Suicide Squad is shit. And I said Suicide Squad is not a shit game. It's not. To say that Suicide Squad is a good game or bad game, that's subjective. What's not subjective is that Suicide Squad is a shit game, because it's not a shit game. A shit game is a game like, what was that game that didn't come out, that came out? Oh, the day before. That's a shit game, right? What's a shit game is Gollum. Gollum's a shit game, right? A shit game is when Redfall came out, it was incomplete, broke, buggy, and unfinished when it came out, and they're still fixing it and still haven't released DLC for it, right? That at that moment is a shit game. Gamers Now, if it's not a game of the year, it's shit. People have been saying that the live service games are a bad thing. No, live service games are not a bad thing, right? I guarantee you, if someone had an IP that was a live service game that they really wanted, and it was the IP that they loved, they would like that live service game. Why? Because they want more of what they love, okay? Live service is not a bad thing. A bad game in live service, okay, is a bad thing. Right? Doing live service bad is bad. But live service games are not bad. Then why is me saying sales don't dictate game quality a problem and not attached to what's being talked about? What's being talked about? Are you talking about what's talking about in the world, or what's being talked about what I'm talking about? What I'm talking about is people are saying that Suicide Squad is a shit game and it didn't sell. Yet, the articles out there that I just brought up in multiple different titles of certain games selling well or not selling well, and that Suicide Squad sits third overall, okay? Regardless of what everyone else is talking about, I'm talking about that people say a game is shit and it didn't sell well, and I'm proving the fact that it did sell well. Regardless if it's a shit game or not a shit game. It sold millions of copies, and people are delusional thinking that it didn't sell well because of Steam numbers, right? right? And then look at this. There's an article talking about how Helldivers has sold over 5 million copies, right? Now, obviously, Helldivers. Let me find the article for this real fast. Okay. Helldivers has sold well over 5 million is what they say in the article, right? Okay, now this is just some random person that's saying this, so let's just go with it, right? Because that's what we do. Okay, way more than that. We don't know how many more copies than 5 million is way more, but who would dare to say, looking at the 6 to 7 million copies of Helldivers 2, so far without the problem, there's routinely 400,000 people playing on a single planet, right? So just under 10% of the total 5 million copies, and remember, that's without the game being on Xbox, right? So this article is saying that, well, we have 400,000 people on Steam, so we're just assuming a percentage of that. So they sold 5 to 6 to 7 million copies, right? So they're 10%, right? Well, if we take 10% of the Steam numbers off of Suicide Squad, we would assume that if there's, 32,000 people paid or 13,000, is that what it was? So 1.3 million people bought the game on Steam, right? So there's 1.3 million sales right there. Then we know it's the third best selling game in the month of February on PlayStation. So we know it sold at least an additional 1.5 to 2 million copies on PlayStation. And then it probably sold 700,000 to 1 million copies on Xbox, right? Right? So it sold roughly around 3.5 to 4.5 million, maybe 5 million copies total across all three platforms for Suicide Squad. But people are telling you it's a shit game and no one's buying it. But yet another game sells 5 million copies. Greatest game ever. People can imagine one game sold 5 million, but they can't imagine another game sold 5 million. I love Marvel and I love DC. I had no desire to play either of those live service games. Sure, Vandal. Because do you play a lot of live service games? I don't know. I'm asking the question. Do you like playing live service games? Or are you making the fact that you like playing live service games, but you're not interested in Marvel or DC or live service? As he says, I'm so annoyed that so many hate and no traction on what the love. I guess put Batman in everything. Fucking stupid. I haven't checked it out at all, Eclipse. I don't know anything about the Fortnite new season. I know it's the Myths, Gods and Myths, or something like that. How are the game reviews for Suicide Squad? That's here nor there, though, Jones. On Steam, it's mostly positive. On Metacritic, it's like a 3.8 or whatever it is, right? Reviews and stuff have nothing to do with game sales. The game sales, it's sold, right? We're not even talking about if it's a good game or bad game. We're just talking about the actual physical sales that happened of the game, estimation-wise. I think live service are blight on gaming industry. So you don't play any live service games? Mo says, I've never been in denial of all at all, just because they're a third party, because it doesn't mean anything is going full third party. Microsoft has been games on all other consoles. Call of Duty sucks, but it sells. So you only play, Vandal, you only play single player games. That's all you play, right? I was commenting on your take that if all folks like the IP, they would play those games. I didn't say all folks. I just said that if folks are interested in an IP, they'd be more willing to play a game that's a live service or not. Right? Because if they, first of all, you didn't like Marvel's Avengers, the game. You didn't buy it, so you're not interested in it. But the people that bought Marvel's Avengers were interested in the game, and they were interested in it as a live service game. Right? People that bought Suicide Squad are interested in the Suicide Squad or DC. Right? So they're already interested in that game, and then when they were in that game, they were more interested also as a live service game. You're coming from a point of you don't like live service games at all, so you wouldn't buy those games regardless. But you'll go out and play like the Wolverine game or the Spider-Man game, correct? See, I think a lot of people are taking live service as the Battle Pass microtransactions, right? That's what everyone looks at a live service game. That's right, Paul. Live service just means more content to me. So if you like a game and it gives you more content, okay, that's better for you if you like that game. If you have no interest in that game, then you're not part of the conversation. Whatever that game is. Eclipse says, I'm just saying that the companies keep paying $300 million to make a game. They need games like live service unless you're a Rockstar. I don't think, well, I think one or the other. Honestly, I think a lower level game that does not cost $300 million, if they could give it $100 million and do live service, it's better if you can make a $300 million game in live service, right? You still need to sell more and buy more, or, you know, sell more, create more, and then sell more at a higher price if you're charging $300 million for that game, right? If you're spending $300 million a game, you have to sell a shit ton of copies. Where a game that costs $100 million and then sells 5, 6, 7 million copies, they're making way more profit, and they're also making live, the live service aspect and making microtransactions as well. RoboCop doesn't have Call of Duty numbers, but it's a great game with a popular IP. And what were people saying, Ron, when people played RoboCop? They went, man, I wish there was more content for it. Right? You were done playing the game, you're like, man, I wish there was more content for it. Sarge says they cannot deny the fact of numbers sold, so they deflect the review scores, and they make up the sway of the opinions of the masses that think about the review is a credible opinion. That's what I'm saying, Sarge. That people negate the sales of number, and they just say it's a bad game, so bad game equals it didn't sell well, right? But there are games that are bad that sell well, and there's also great games that don't sell well. But to deflect and say that this game sucks, it didn't sell well, is just silly, right? You don't have to give me the number for Suicide Squad, but if there's one number on any game that's on that list and it gives that number, then we know it sold more than that game. Yeah, if $300 million game, if it lands on all systems, not a problem, right? Better opportunity for it to make all its money back. But if it's a $300 million game and it's exclusive on one platform, you got to sell a shit ton of copies on that one platform, especially when the player base, right? Now, obviously, Spider-Man is one of the most famous IPs on the planet, right? Ever. Oh, keep that same energy when Starfield comes to PlayStation. El, why are you like poking, right? Ghost of Tsushima's coming to PC. PlayStation's a third-party publisher. Just like Xbox. What's the difference? The exact same thing. All companies are doing the exact same thing. Minus Nintendo. Yet. Vandal says, I actually miss the days of DLC. I agree with you. I love DLC. I'll pay for your game DLC if I like the DLC, right? If I like your game, I'm going to buy more DLC. I feel like these companies focus on extracting money first and then the game. This is why I feel like live service is a blight in gaming. And I understand where you're coming from, right? But if it's a good game and you like that game, you want more content, right? So someone in my comment section the other day said that Suicide Squad, Rocksteady, is gatekeeping content. I don't think people understand what that means. Gatekeeping means they're putting it behind something. It's free. They're not gatekeeping anything. Like, the season comes out March 28th, and you can play it or not play it when it comes out. It's free. Right? You can literally play the entire Suicide Squad by the purchase of the game. This is why I said don't buy it when it comes out, because it'll go on sale, and you can pick it up and get better value for your money. Right? But if I pick up that game for $30, $40 down the road, and it has 4 seasons in it, you're not paying for anything. That's more content for somebody that's interested in that game, and they didn't pay more money. How's that gatekeeping? Right? But people think because it's live service that it's a bad game. Who cares if the game comes to another console? It must have really hurt you. That Ghost is coming to the PC, huh? Sarge says that the game can sell well, but it might not sell enough copies to cover the cost. Free-to-play games don't say shit up front about the sales because they needed to go out long enough for the microtransactions to cover the money. People love Spider-Man gameplay, but like Batman, after 4 games, it's still going to sell as well as before. It all depends. It all depends on... I would have to look up what Batman game... And again, they don't keep track of sales numbers, right? So, is Spider-Man 2 going to sell more copies than Miles Morales? Yes. Is it going to sell more copies than the original? I don't know. Less people own a PlayStation that bought it for the original PlayStation. It could, in the long run, sure. So, does that mean Spider-Man 3 will sell less copies? I don't know. Did Mass Effect 1 sell more than 2 than more than 3? I have to look at those numbers. They don't keep track of the numbers for the newer games anymore. You get diminishing returns, right? You get diminishing returns. Like, you paid $118 million for first Spider-Man, and then you sold 15 million copies. And then you make Miles Morales, which was like a DLC, and that cost like less than $100 million, and you sold 7 million copies. Then you come to Spider-Man 2, and you have $318 million, and you sold 10 million copies. Right? In the long run, yeah, they'll sell more, but it'll be on sale. It'll be on discount. They bring DLC in to try to get more people to buy it. Elden Ring was a complete high-quality game that they've earned my trust with it, and now I buy the DLC without hesitation. Sure. But that's also a live service game. Is it not? DLC is still a live service. They're still adding more content to that game. Right? MMOs, DLCs, like Borderlands was a live service game. Just because you purchase the DLC or don't get the DLC, paid or not paid, they're still supporting the longevity of that game over the years. It's a live service game. Live service to me is putting the cart before the horse. No, that's the misconception of live service. Hey, the last Batman game was a live service game. Adding more skins, adding more stuff in there, and you buying stuff, adding game modes, adding something that came out after the game. If you paid for it, if it's free, that's a live service game. The only games that are not live service is a game that comes out and they never touch again. That's it. It's done. Is Baldur's Gate 3 a live service? If it has DLC coming down the road, if it doesn't have any DLC, and right now Baldur's Gate 3 stays what it is and doesn't add anything else, then no, it's not a live service game. It's done. It's a complete game, done. See, everyone thinks that live service is microtransaction battle pass. That's not what that means. I am old like you, Vandal. MMOs in the past have always been live service. See, the difference between live service in the past and live service today, live service got hijacked to what battle passes and stuff are. And that's what everyone thinks. Anything that's added after the fact, they're still supporting the game. If it's paid DLC or free DLC, that is a live service game. The difference now, Vandal, is that the people have hijacked what live service is because there's battle passes, okay, or microtransaction, there's an online store, right? Any game that still supports the game after launch, if it's DLC, if it's free DLC, if it's whatever, it's a live service game. When we were kids, there was no live service aspect for the NES, 64, or anything like that. There were sequels. Whatever they didn't put in the first game, they would adjust and change for the second game. Robert Jones says, games of service is the definition for Battle Pass and Seasons. Yes, not live service. Everyone thinks live service means games of service. Ron Slusher says, TurboGrafx 16 games are not live service games. That's correct. They made a game, they printed the game, and that game was done. Let's see. If Elden Ring drops one DLC, they never add anything else. Is it a live service? No, if Elden Ring doesn't drop anything, it's not a live service. If you add DLC, it's part of live service. But I also don't think the traditional DLC model should be called live service. Whatever you want to call it. They're continuing supporting that game after the game came out. If that is, they made the game and broke it up into 3 parts and then sold it to you over the couple of years, but it's game number 1, that's what it is. Nice. Kinger had a new video that just dropped about live service. I'll have to watch it sometime today. If that's the one with the Helldivers, if he's talking about Helldivers. Mike, you're basically saying every modern game is live service. That's not true. Elden Ring released a complete game. Now they're releasing DLC. This isn't live service. It is. They're still providing game. Borderlands was a live service game. Every DLC came out like 1 month after. It was like the game launched. 2 months later, they released the DLC. Then they released another DLC, another DLC. No one bitched back then when Borderlands 2 came out that they were holding content back. When Destiny came out, that's when people started going, oh, they're charging us for stuff that they cut out from the game. Here. SnowRunners, the truck game, is a complete game, right? It has like 15 missions inside the base game. But then they have seasons, right? That's a live service. I don't have to purchase that, but if I want to, I can buy season 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a live service game. But if I don't ever want to buy any of that stuff, the seasons that they have, then I can just play SnowRunners as is, and that's it. It's a standalone game. But they continue to support it. Paid DLCs that they call seasons. That's a live service game. The games as service part is the microtransaction store, paid skins, right, and other things that they add to it. Mo says every games as service is live service, but not every live service is games as service. That's correct, Mo. So back in the day, COD 2 was a live service because released DLC perks. No, it wasn't. It was. What would you call it? What would you call it, Vandal? A game that comes out and then adds content later. What would you call it? Sarge says that today's standards, it's now called live service. You guys are arguing about semantics about the defines a live service. Has anyone looked up a damn definition? I would say that live meaning continuously ongoing. Think about the live band of music that happening in a moment. Seasons is live service. Expansions I wouldn't consider live. But what's the difference? What is, see, this is semantics. So how long does a DLC have to come out before it's considered a live service and considered paid DLC? 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, 5, what is it? Just ask yourself, are they continuously updating? Continuously updating what, though? Week by week? That's not what it means. The games as service when they update the stores every single week. That's games as service. Is an MMO live service? Yes. Especially the ones that you pay $15 a month to pay for it. Was Battlefield Bad Company 2 live service? Up to a certain point, yes. There was paid DLC. Here. A live service game is a game for which a video game publisher plans to continue providing new content, which is sold to a player at an increment rates. The additional content is usually not necessary to enjoy the core experience of the game. What is that, Krebsy? Ew. I think the difference is centered around the purpose of the content. I mean, like, seriously, guys. Like, what are we talking about? I just gave you the definition. Live service, if you paid for it or not. Okay, so we're arguing semantics. They basically just changed the definition of DLC. But I fucking said it like 10 minutes ago. Everyone thinks that live service is games of service. Games of service is different than live service. Live service is DLC. You guys think I'm like crazy. DLC is live service. DLC is not games of service. If the DLC that comes in the game is paid or not paid, it's live service. The microtransaction store where you can buy physical goods as far as the cosmetics that are not content is games of service. Just not patches. That's right. Fucking patches are not considered live service. That's fixing their fucking game. Now, here's the difference. Cyberpunk 2077 for the last 3 years, up until Liberty, what was it called? Not Liberty City. What was the one? Liberty, right? Something Liberty. Phantom Liberty. That wasn't a live service game. That was them finishing their fucking game. And then they gave you a DLC, which is a live service part of the game. Okay? Paid DLC, non-paid DLC, content, that's live service. The 3 years leading up to that wasn't live service. That was them fixing their fucking game. Human beings are live service. Yeah, best ongoing game. Yeah. All right, so yeah, they just changed the name, Jones. They just changed the name. Before it wasn't live service, right? Before it was just DLC, paid DLC, right? But anything that they support after the game comes out, that's been around for like 20, 25 years now. Right? We're talking, we're in 2024. 2000, there was games that had DLC that came with it. You know what I mean? We don't like to hear the word live service because everyone assumes that live service is games of service, and games of service is bad because of battle passes and microtransaction stores. That's what everyone thinks. If the game is bring you, don't have to go out and buy another copy, hoping it's another broken to wait for a service update. Well, there's difference between the service update as far as like games that come out that are just broke, right? Like Redfall is a live service game, but the bug fixes they're doing for that game is not part of that live service. That's them just fixing their fucking game, right? That's not part of that. That's not part of that live service. That's just them fixing the game. Yeah, all MMOs are live service. I don't understand the need to change the word for DLC. I mean, it's just called downloadable content. If that's paid or free. I mean, again, Vandal, we're saying the same thing. We're saying it two different ways. But now in the industry, live service, I was making the fact that live service is the same as DLC, paid or free. It's a live service game. They're adding more content to the game. All right. Now that we established what a live service game is, EA CEO says 60% of development... Actually, before I even start this, if you guys like what I do here, we usually don't debate. We usually just have a conversation of going back and forth of what the article says. Okay? If you like what we do here, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. On this channel, we're doing all live content stuff, right? So nothing's changing on this channel. So my morning shows are here. We're still uploading the uploads from the breakout videos that I do on these. So if you don't watch these live, you just want to watch the certain particular topic that I upload, you can watch those separately as well. And then we also do live gameplay in the evenings. What's changing, though, is that I'm using my 30 and Still Gaming channel again. It's a monetized channel. If you guys want more gameplay, like I put up older that were on live streams on this channel. I moved them over to 30 and Still Gaming. I'm going to slowly start putting gameplay only over there. If you come Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday evenings here when I'm playing something live, okay, that will be live for you to watch here. Then I'll take that. It will be locked over here after I'm done streaming live, and then I will upload those to 30 and Still Gaming. So if you want to watch the gameplay and you missed it live, you won't be able to watch the past broadcasts of my gameplay on this channel. I'm moving it over to my gaming channel, okay? If you'd like to support what I do on 30 and Still Gaming, what I do on 30 NSG, and what I'm going to try to do for Nerding with 30, you come to this main channel here, okay, and become a member here, okay? Nerding with 30 and 30 and Still Gaming, one's monetized. I'm trying to get the other one monetized, but that's not monetized to get, not for memberships and stuff like that. That's monetized so when those videos show at a later time, I just get ad revenue and whatnot for that. But this is our main channel here. So nothing's changing here. The podcasts are staying here. All the podcasts are staying here. My gameplay is staying here, but it'll move over at the end of the night. It just won't be listed in this channel, and it'll be moved over to the other channel like a day or so later. And then there's new gameplay. Like I put up Brotato up there, like a 24-minute video of Brotato, which wasn't streamed. So it's a lot easier for me to, like in the afternoon, if I have like 30 minutes to kill, I just record something. It doesn't mean I don't need to go live for a live stream and do a 30-minute gameplay video, right? So I just planned, I had some free time, played 30 minutes, and then I upload that on 30 and Still Gaming. All right? So that's what we're doing with the channel. So I'm also going to try to add Friday nights around 10:30 in the evening. It's late, but on Nerding with 30, I'm just going to be talking about entertainment articles. So just like I do here, but for gaming, we're going to do that for entertainment Friday nights. So if you can come out. If not, I'm going to take what I do with the same format here over on Nerding with 30 for entertainment articles, and then I'll break those out as uploads throughout the week for Nerding with 30. So that's what we're going to be doing there. I gave my girl live service last night. All right, so let's talk about EA CEO says 60% of the development process could be positively impacted by AI. Positively impacted. Let's see how Android Wilson talks about this. Electronic Arts has been in the news for all the wrong reasons of late. They're always in the news for the wrong reasons. From a shutdown of studios to teams of cancellation of projects, the laying off of hundreds of employees, EA has been bearing the brunt of bad news in recent, it says weeks, but I'm gonna go on and say add a little bit, years, decades even. Yeah, let's say decades. Recently, with the company CEO Android Wilson took to the stage at Tech Conference to speak about the impact of generative AI and having on the game development ecosystem. He says he stresses that about the 60% of all game development process could be positively impacted by generative AI, and that through artificial intelligence, something that previously took 6 weeks could achieve in just about 6 days. Oh, yeah. I see where the positivity is coming from, right? That's where the positivity is coming from. He's talking from the Android's CEO spot positively, but not positively for everyone that's working for the company, okay? He says meaningful efficiency. Android Wilson professed that his love for AI... See, he is an android. He is. He's a robot. On a grand stage in San Francisco, explaining how Electronic Arts is hoping that the bandwagon like never before. He says, we're in the area of generative AI, which is the most exciting yet by fairly a wide margin and something that it's embracing deeply. We think about it, 3 core vectors: efficiency, expansion, and transformation. He says he went on to talk about EA's game development process and how the desire to the AI to make companies more effective or efficient by 30% is all about getting the games to market faster while not compromising the quality. Sure. And just imagine if they can knock a game out, like for instance, Madden, right? If an AI can make Madden, why the fuck pay people, right? Because Madden every year is just a roster update, and if they can train the AI to do that, then you don't need the employees. They can just keep pumping them out left and right, no big deal. He says, quote, and I would tell you part of that is how we do it and our people to embrace it. And the creators of the games is incredibly exciting. The ability to get to the fun faster and get market faster is a holy grail for them. It's also to see a real embrace happening inside the company around these things and can help them to get the greatness much more quickly. If you are an employee of EA right now and you're rooting to be lazier at your job, right? And I mean that by not saying you're lazy, but less work for you so AI could take over, so it could do 30% of your work. Believe me, that 30% will go to 40, and that 40 will go to 50, and that 50 will go to 80, and that 80 will go to 100, and you'll be out of the job, so embrace it, okay? Using that recent release, EA Sports FC as an example, Wilson pointed out that FIFA 23, the last game in the series, featured a branding-boasted 12-run cycles for player models. EA Sports FC 24, most recent game, has 1,200 cycles that were achieved through generative AI, okay? It's an ambitious statement, Wilson points out, that the EA's network of 700 million people would be increased to over 1 billion players through its use of AI boosting monetization and personalized content. We spoke to multi-billion-dollar opportunity for Electronic Arts and where AI is concerned, and because at the end of the day, it's all about the sweet dollar. Amazing. Yeah, I'm sure it's really positive for the CEO of the company because he can save a lot more money by having the people that are working for the company right now train the AI to do their jobs for them. And when it gets to a certain point, they don't need the actual people anymore. It goes on without them. This is brilliant. All right. I think this is absolutely terrible. Now, obviously, as a tech person, I think AI is wonderful, right? I use AI every single day. I use ChatGPT to help me with my titles and everything else and come up with different things, right? But I don't use it solely for what it is, right? I use it as a tool, okay? Right now, the companies are using it as a tool to help them develop games, okay? But at that point, the CEO sees this, right? It's different than me working with AI for myself, right? Because, again, right now, I'm the employee / CEO of 30 NSG, okay? And if I could make the AI do all my work for me, obviously, if I could make myself here and not be here, and I could be sitting down on the couch drinking a beer while the AI 30 in NSG is standing in front of you working, giving his opinions, that would be amazing, wouldn't it? I would be able to make money without actually being here. Now, as the CEO of my company, that sounds fantastic. But as the employee of the company, I'm going, well, holy shit, I don't have a job, right? If I can make myself on the screen. Now, that doesn't happen in the big businesses. In the big businesses, there's people that are actually doing the job. But the CEO doesn't give a shit about those people. He doesn't give a shit about us, the customers itself. All he cares about us is getting the money out of our pockets. And all he's doing about the developers is, how can I get these developers to make these things work so I don't have to pay them as much? Or I can get fired 900 more people, okay? That's the difference between the generative AI that the CEO is positively looking forward to and what we, the people, the workers that are actually looking and going, I don't know about this AI, but you have to do what you're told, right? Like if you don't do what Android Wilson is telling you, then you lose your job, obviously. So there's a fine line. And right now, you know, I mean, the CEO says 60% of the development process could be positively impacted. That's majority of the work. Well, if I don't need people to work, then why would I hire people to work? When I can make billions of dollars without those people, right? I make millions with those people. I can make billions without those people. You let me know in the comment section down below. What do you think about this generative AI and what EA is doing? And then if EA is doing it, then Activision will do it, and Microsoft will do it, and Sony will do it, and all these guys will do it. And then all these companies that are making these unions for these workers goes to the wayside because it doesn't really matter at that point because AI doesn't unionize. And AI doesn't need to get a paycheck each and every single week. It just does what it's told. These are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, and subscribe. If you like what we do here, check out some of our other videos. Thanks for watching. Ron Slusher says, Skynet. EA. don't pay anybody anymore, right? No, it's EA. It's not made by people, right? Android Wilson, honestly, I think Android has been taken over. I think Andrew Wilson is an android, and Android is now taking over the company. Well, that's why we call him Android Wilson. Altern. You ever see the guy? You ever see what he looks like? You know what Andrew Wilson looks like? This dude is a robot. Look at him. He is just straight up AI. He's a robot with human skin on him. Wouldn't that be funny? Wouldn't that be funny if someone created a CEO that's actually a robot, and then the CEO doesn't even get the job anymore? It's just made by a robot. Maybe that's what EA is doing. Maybe if EA does this when people are buying Madden, we'll stop, because a lot of people hate AI taking over everything. Probably not, though. Oh yeah, no one will give a shit. They won't even bat an eye. Half the people, hell no, I'll say like 80-90% of the people won't even know it's not even being created by people anymore. Can you imagine? How do you get the cost down for a game, right? Everyone's talking about games cost way too much. Well, how do you get that price down? There's a couple ways you get that price down, right? One, you get less people working on the game and still being proficient enough to make a game, right? Two, you take that game and you break it across over multiple things, right? If that's live service, DLC, right? Sequels coming out where you take one game, break it up like Sony wants to do with Spider-Man, rumored with Spider-Man 3, where they might take Spider-Man, break it up into 2 or 3 parts, and then charge $50 instead of $70. But every year it comes out, they don't have to wait 5 years for it, right? They don't have to wait from 2018 to 2024 or 2023. They just do 2026, 2027, 2028, right? They get $150 for that game over the course of 3 years, right? While they're working on something else. They get a microtransaction store, right? And I'm not saying Spider-Man. I'm just saying in general, this is the way they do it. They add more, live service aspects of game stores, more skins, more stuff, right? We hear all the time that skins make more than entire games, right? Do you think these companies are not going to do it? Of course they're going to do it. Use it. It's an advancement of tech. iPad put books out into businesses. People freaked out when the internet releases and how everyone uses it. Doesn't it suck? Sure. I'll stop. Nope. Exactly right. I hate sweatshops. I hate that people do this and people are out of jobs. Hold on one second. I got a text on my phone. Hold on a second. I really hate this world leaders really putting people to... Oh, wait a minute. I'm on my phone that was made... People don't give 2 shits. People don't give 2 shits. Because it's an inconvenience for us. Right? People don't give a shit. Rowick says, Madden is a buggy and broken dues to them slapping a new paint coat. Never really fixed any of the bugs. And people still buy it. Yeah, that's why I stopped buying it in 2012. 2011. Well, they won't make them cheaper, Eclipse. Don't think if AI actually came in and could make a video game that they would lower the price of the video game. Yeah, they're definitely not making it cheaper. If they could get $70, $80 when they're paying $250, $300 million for a game, if they can get that down to $100, you think they're going to lower the price? That's no way. They're never going down. They're never going down. Right, Paul. You're like, hold my beer. Right, they still have to keep the lights on, Krebsy, but there'll be no lights on because the AI doesn't need lights. But they need electricity, so. If AI can make Madden, why does Madden even need EA? I mean, now we're talking into like war games where the computer becomes a thing and then tries to take over. You know, maybe EA turns into AI. That's what it's called. EA just drops the EA, computer takes over and says, no, I'm taking over. Hostile takeover. AI takes it and says, no. EA is now AI. It's like a movie waiting to happen, isn't it? It's a movie. It could be the updated War Games. Guy works at EA. He's a CEO. Okay. He says, I have this new technology where this computer can make games for us. And then all of a sudden the computer takes over and starts to corrupt all games and then take over the world. I like it. It's called EAI. That's it. There you go, Sarge. AI. It is the game. I think we just made a script. Let me go type that in ChatGPT and see what it comes up with. All right, next story. Microsoft will be debating right now whether Xbox consoles have a future, says Peter Moore. You guys don't know who Peter Moore is? He was one of the older leads of Xbox. Okay, it says it feels like video game consoles is at a crossroad with Xbox Series X and S floundering in the console war, but it's not. They're evolving, right? Sony suggests that PlayStation 5 is approaching the second half of its life after missing sales targets and uncertainty around the release of Nintendo Switch 2. There's a growing concern that the traditional video game consoles business could be under threat. Why? There are a number of reasons. Perhaps chief among them is that the console business has failed to grow meaningful in years, offering a sizable static customer base, increasingly playing a handful of enormous games, and leaving a little room for everything else. After the pandemic boomed, the huge revenue increases from the new types of monetization like battle passes, and some are now wondering where the next shot of the arm comes from. Peter Moore is convinced that Microsoft will be discussing right now whether Xbox consoles have a future. Why should we care about Peter Moore thinks? Well, he knows a thing or two about video game consoles. As president of Sega America, Moore was also in the room if Sega killed the Dreamcast when they also... Oh, that's right. He was a Sega, not Microsoft. I was thinking of... He was there with Microsoft. The boss is also Xbox... as boss of Xbox, he oversaw... He was. I thought he was. Contending with everything from the Red Ring of Death debacle over the top of E3 presentation. That was the worst. The Red Ring of Death was the worst, man. I went through five Xboxes during that time frame. Peter Moore is that the video game executes who got a Halo 2 tattoo on his arm just to flex Microsoft's muscle during the console war. And then after Microsoft is another tattoo, this time promoted GTA 4's launch on Xbox. Moore joined Electronic Arts to run EA's sports and also going into a FIFA series. In short, Moore also knows it takes to run successful and unsuccessful console business. So wondering whether he's playing the machines under the TV have a future, he can bet the people making them are too. In a sweeping interview with IGN, Moore delves deep into the ongoing debate about the video game console wonders, and that Microsoft in particular will do next, and reveals the Microsoft current intentions and debates about releasing its exclusives or rival consoles are nothing new. In fact, years ago, Microsoft talked about releasing Halo on PlayStation. He says, I've seen a lot about the console business essentially failing to grow in a long time. Now, it also has relatively stable number of consumers, but it looks like the install base for each generation over the last however many years, his needle hasn't moved significantly. Okay. Now, there was another guy that everyone likes to give shit to. What's his name? Michael Packner, right? He said that sales have been down. Everyone's like, he doesn't know what he's talking about. So obviously he doesn't know what he's talking about. Just everyone's agreeing with him, right? Phil Spencer explained that Microsoft recent layoffs in terms of industry failure to grow the gaming audience. You agree with the sentiment. Now he says, yeah, well, the numbers don't lie. Let's not forget hardware is a messy business, and the exact hardware and look at P&L, profit and loss, on its own. It's brutal, and it's software service that drives the industry. Okay, drives the industry. You've got a generation coming through now, and this is also concerns maybe Phil's talking about, and this is more likely utilizing the smartphone for everything, including gaming. Okay, so from a perspective of what the console means, it was plug and play, and it was easy, it was powerful, and it goes back to 35 to 40 years, and you're now seeing, certainly hearing from a company like Microsoft is, and does the cloud replace the need to be spoken hardware? Does streaming change the way that the game is devised and also now we're now used to, in particular smartphones? He says, I don't think people are gaming less, they're just gaming differently. And the more and more we're seeing generations coming through and talk about the sit down, and even in the front of the televisions is whatever the game Deja Vu in the last week, okay? He says, it's also always, as we suggest, though maybe fear, ongoing the snack size stuff. What can we do in the next 10 to 12 minutes? What can we do at my lunch break? And there's also so much pressure for the gaming experience for everything else in the world. This is unbelievably perhaps overconnected world dominated by social media context, TikTok videos, gaming, while still robust. Let's not forget, probably 200 billion this year. It's fragmented across regions, across different content. It's also only many hours in the day. And there's also so many choices for us to choose the hours of information, entertainment, and more content. YouTube, streaming channels. For me, it's Apple TV, Paramount Plus, Peacock, Amazon Prime. Go on and go on. And then linear television sits back in the background, and now with the immense opportunity to sit and gorge the content rather than interact with the consoles. It's amazing how these articles come out. And I've been talking about this with Sarge on Generation X Gaming. If you guys don't know what Generation X Gaming is, we do a podcast Thursday nights. We've been saying this for years, right? Everyone has 24 hours in the day. Less and less people are getting to play more games. There's too many games out there to play, too big of games, okay? The younger generation is playing on smaller screens. They're playing on their phones, their tablets, okay? Laptops. Lots more people not playing on consoles anymore. They're getting it every which way possible. You're at the doctor's office, right? You're sitting in line somewhere. You're at dinner, right? You're bored as a kid. You're on the phone playing through games. Us old-timers are like, I'm not playing God of War on that thing. I'm not playing Spider-Man on that thing. I'm not playing whatever game it is. I'm not playing Halo on a small screen. You are a small percentage, okay? It's the people that they're doing right now. The kids that are now 5 or 6 are going to be coming in the next 10 years, they're going to be 17, right? 16, 17 years old. And where are they going to be playing? That's what they're doing. They're going to the future, not for us, okay? It says, the bigger the picture, we're certainly feared during my time, even at Microsoft. We're saying that in 2007, in the last console generation, do televisions start to come with a chip that can play games with just any controller? Is the PC, as it was, is a renaissance. Okay, why do we need a bespoke piece of hardware that cost us Microsoft billions upon billions of dollars to install? And you also hope to tell the hell that you get the attach rate of software and something out of the Xbox Live, you connected service, that you justify losses. Okay, the cash hardware costs you. Okay, because you're just hemorrhaging. You're just hemorrhaging every time you make a console. They're losing money. Okay, and then you think back now the music. Gosh, Zune and iPod. Then I go back to the Discman and Walkman, bespoke device of play music. Well, we don't have those anymore. And so now, wherever streaming's out on the phone, on Spotify, or I listen to it, a lot of music on SoundCloud, but I don't have anything to play music. Somebody gave me a DVD the other day, and I have nowhere to actually look at this. Now, smartphones dominates and goes gaming isn't immune to these changes, technology and viewing, listening, and playing habits. He says, and now, what we're doing, well, we're not living rooms anymore. We're in the back bedroom. We're in the YouTube influencers. We're TikToker creators. It's also back content demand. We're also going through the same thing that sports. So you're seeing all these different pressures, okay, if you will. On this next generation, Phil's talking about, Gen Z is coming through. And they're going, why do I need to spend $400 or $500 on a spoken piece of gaming hardware and on my smartphone? Or I got my PC or my Mac, and I can do things. They're a pretty decent controller. Man, this is amazing. It's like they interviewed me, okay? So I think this is what they're facing, in particular Microsoft, the Azure is, I think. We're now finally ready for cloud gaming. Question mark? Okay. We're finally ready to just crank out 8K television, get in the gaming menu, 10,000 games available. Okay? Who's playing games right now? Click. Go play. Because it says, you mentioned even in 2007 internally, you were wondering, is there the last console generation? It says, yeah, the Xbox 360 during back at the end of that have concern. If we're thinking about something that launched in the mid-2000s, okay, what does the end of the decade look like and how long the cycle were? Usually 5 or 6 years. And what does this look like in 5 or 6 years? We're going to need another. Well, the answer ultimately was yes. The question for being asked then, and why, because you got faster, cheaper broadband. More ambiguous is just about everyone's home, okay? I always remember this. If you're looking at music and the lessons learned, all of a sudden streaming and high-definition movies were starting to happen, and you also have capabilities at home. Again, gaming was immune to this because it also kept on going was the games were 30 gigabytes or 40 gigabytes, and the music was 4 megabytes, and the movies were also could stream. But then it was linear, and then it was passive. He says, do you think that this is the last console generation? He says, well, the great question already. PlayStation 5 saying that maybe they could sunset this thing, but no mention of the PlayStation 6. Now look, Sony is very much a hardware company. So, what would you say that the barometer company or Microsoft not so much? Microsoft, I'm sure, would love if everything can move to the cloud. And the only thing that Microsoft doesn't get to play is, well, anybody else is the smartphone business, right? Because that's where Apple, Google, and handset manufacturers will also benefit enormously. And they're also already in making tens of billions of dollars without really trying to gaming at 30% royalties, okay? So as you can tell, that's why Microsoft is going towards the mobile market, okay? He says, but I think the real question, or the real serious question is being asked is the, sure, if Tokyo is in Redmond and Washington, this is where everybody's working on right now, because you start off with the next generation, you also are ready to absorb billions of dollars in losses. And if the industry, given all the layoffs and everything is going through right now, the industry is ready for that. Look at Sony's laying off 900 people. A lot in the UK. My 2 eldest daughters work for EA, and they're all right. But they're also always looking over their shoulder. Okay? He says, you just never know. The broadly Silicon Valley, you just don't know what's going on anymore. Everything evolves, and inflation hasn't helped. A lot of companies, gaming companies in particular, did not exist during COVID. Well, hired too aggressively, thinking that there's never going to wind out again. And of course it did. Okay? He continues by saying, so you think the answer to your question, those are questions that are also being asked right now and also tied around. Do we continue to develop silicon? The role of AI? What does it mean? Can you look away from that and all these companies willing to go another route and multi-billion dollars, and at the same time, you're gearing up for another cycle where games are made an embrace of the console and just say, hey, you know what? I need this. Times are tough. We got the phone. I'm enjoying what I got on my phone. There's plenty of games I can play. Failing that, of course, I have a PC, I have a Mac, I have whatever it is the need to do, and I really need to spending what could be $500-600 or bespoke piece of hardware that just saying playing games. So both of the companies and gamers themselves are asking the question. Okay, the next question is, Peter, so much sounds like you're suggesting that the era of consoles might be coming to an end. And he says, what I'm saying is the questions are being asked, and this has also been in the last 20 years. We're also ready to grind the loins financially, and the battle is all the cost of development, silicon development. What does the PlayStation 6 can do that the PlayStation 5 can't? What can we make people jump from PlayStation 5? Or the same with Xbox. Same with the Switch right now. God forbid, just incremental. And I think that the companies are also looking at that. What can we do to extend the life cycle? And if also Microsoft and Phil Spencer, also Nadell, also coming in saying, all right, the future is here. What does it play the biggest strategy of the cloud Azura with AI? What are we doing with the AI game development? And how do we make games faster, cheaper, with less people? These are all questions that I think that they're asking. Okay, and we just talked about that, right? We just talked about how EA, 60% of the productivity is going to go to AI. Okay, and he makes a good point. What is the PlayStation 6 going to do that the PlayStation 5 couldn't? What is the Xbox next generation going to do that the Xbox Series X can't? Right? Because no matter what Xbox comes out with, it's got to still run on the Xbox Series S and X of the lower tier stuff, right? What are they gonna bring in? They're gonna bring in 4K? Are they're gonna market on the box 8K? Like, what type of stuff are they gonna put in there that makes it groundbreaking that you need to buy the next console? Right? The graphics aren't getting incrementally better, right? They're gonna hit a cap point. So what does that mean? Are you gonna spend $500 so you can get better graphics? I don't know. More people are gonna look at this and go, it's not worth it. I'm gonna wait. Okay. He says, no, now Nintendo is making the next generation console. Most people assume that Sony will make a PlayStation 5, 6. This feels like question marks over whether Microsoft is another meaningful generation of Xbox in it, though. He says, I'm not being a doomsayer. What I think Phil is doing is setting up some smoke signals, and we're thinking very differently. And And then the idea of, well, if it's bought Activision Blizzard King, we're about to make not make those games ultimately exclusive on our platform. They may not be a platform. They'll also be turned what they really had on our roots, which is software and service company, which is Microsoft has, but it's been its entire life. He says, while you see Sega, you witness the company go from a first party to third party after the failure of Dreamcast, and can comprehend that Microsoft is going third party in the same way. Yeah, that's the question. He says, I think the words of first party and third party may be just disappear. It'll be just that we make great games and deliver phenomenal services in which you can play our games in first party, third party for those legacies of hardware. Okay. He says, I think the question is, it'll be asked if Nadell, executive team of Phil, is, all right, you're just giving you whatever, $69 billion, but what goes in the next 5 to 10 years look like, Phil? He says, what is the long-term strategy? Exactly what is going on right now. And yeah, they'll be like, all right, I think it's about the next generation hardware could look like, but the challenge of undoubtedly coming to Nadell is what does it look like without the hardware? And it's going on right now. And you look at what's going at EA and Sony and what they're going on about. Microsoft recently released some of the exclusive on PlayStation and Nintendo Switch. There are reports of Microsoft considering bringing other high-profile games to rival consoles. And when you charge Xbox, would you have ever done this? And why is Microsoft doing it now? He says, I think they're dipping their toe in the water to see how it all works, of course. Okay? And you also look at the tentatively all right, the test ecosystem here, and we're not throwing Halo out there. Okay? I do remember conversations about Halo on PlayStation. You're constantly looking. And you get the Wargaming, which is also did the prior of launch of 360 as a team, which is pretty interesting because if they were talking about Halo back in the day, back then, coming over to PlayStation, right? He was back there in 2007. He says, it went away for a couple of days and I played for a role of Ken. He's also fascinating to me. McKinsey, Console Group, set it up with the idea of understand your competition a little better without you do some war games. He says, my job was, and the PlayStation reacted to Xbox 360, would they do it? As they did to see if Dreamcast with the fear of uncertainty and doubt. We went through 2 days of this and learned a lot. It scared us because you also stunned to figure out, well, wait, hadn't thought of it that. Wait, you mean that you might do that? You might do that to us? It might happen. It's also constantly thinking about every other scenario of ridiculous, disruptive, radical as it sounds. You absolutely have to. Okay. It says, once upon a time, he stood on the stage and showed the world the Halo 2 tattoo to promote Xbox. Now you see Microsoft releasing on Halo or PlayStation. He says, look, if Microsoft says, wait, we're doing $250 million on our own platform, but it's also took Halo as, let's say, third party, we could do $1 billion. You get to think long, hard about that, right? I mean, if you got to go and should it be kept in a piece of intellectual property as bigger than just that game? And how do you leverage that? For those conversations, it always happens with them, and doing leveraging is everything that we would do. Okay, it happens that it downs to look about Xbox wouldn't be what Xbox without Halo, but yeah, it sure is a conversation are happening. They're also come to fruition. Who knows? I said this on the podcast with Lono. He asked me, do I think Halo would ever go? I said it could possibly go. But what he just said, okay, it's like they interviewed me, it would look kind of weird because it's the intellectual property. It's what started Xbox from the very start of the whole console. So it would look a little weird if they put Halo. But at the same time, Halo is on PC. It's not like Halo has only been on Xbox. It's been on PC for years. So it is potentially that I could see Halo going to PlayStation down the line. Why not? Again, if they want to make more money, we'll see what happens to Sea of Thieves, right? Sea of Thieves right now is the #1 pre-ordered game on PlayStation. On a rival platform, it's the #1 PlayStation game that's pre-ordered right now, okay? He says, do you think the potential backlash from the hardcore Xbox community as such a destination would make meaningful difference to Microsoft? He says, the question will be ultimately if the reaction is enough to not make the fundamental business decision for the future of not only Microsoft business, but for gaming itself. Those hardcore are gaming smaller in size and older in age. You got to cater to the generation that are coming through because they're going to drive the business over the next 10 to 20 years. And that's exactly what I've been saying. Okay. You and I, who are above the age of 40, don't matter. Okay. They don't matter because yes, we make the money now. Sure. Okay. But they're investing their time and conditioning the younger generation to understand, to play games on the MetaQuest, on the iPhone, on an Android device, on an iPad, in any place on their television sets. They're conditioning the younger people, okay, to go, is that game coming to Game Pass? Is that game coming to PlayStation Plus? Oh, when does that game come out? Not on PlayStation, not on Xbox, not on Nintendo. When is that game coming out? Okay? And that is the base of all of this, okay? All of us that are old timers, okay, that population gets smaller and smaller. The bigger population is the younger kids that keep coming in. Gamers that were casual gamers that just play on cell phones become the larger portion of where they're making money. And at the end of the day, if it's going to screw over the small percentage to win over the bigger percentage, you better damn right the company is going to take that deal, because they can have possibility of making billions instead of making millions. Okay, I've been saying this for years. Okay, the saturation point for consoles, you can go back to 2018, 2019, I was talking about this. Right, the saturation point of consoles, max 150, 120, 150 million. That's if you're the greatest console ever created. Okay, that's your saturation point. Microsoft's saturation point is now potentially in the billions because you can play it everywhere. If you think that Sony is not going to get on board by putting day and date on PC with their games, you're delusional. Okay? If you don't think that they're going to jump ship and try to get as many people as possible by putting their games on mobile devices as well, you're delusional, because businesses need this to go up. And they don't want it to go up incrementally. Okay? They want to go up a landslide. They want what happened in 2020 to happen every single year is what they want. Okay? Not because of a pandemic. They want it to happen naturally, because their base point was 100 million people, 80 million people, 100 million, 120 million people. Now they get 1 billion, 1.2 billion, 1.5 billion. Okay? And this is exactly what they're all going to shoot for, right? So, yes, is Xbox going third party? They've been third party. It doesn't matter. Is PlayStation going third party? Damn right they're going to go third party, because it makes them more money. And at the end of the day, this is what all businesses want to make: more money. They don't care about their employees. They don't care about the customers. They just care about the stuff that's in your wallet or in your digital bank. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think about Peter Moore, what he said. I know it's more of a longer video on this one because there was a lot of interview there, okay? But let me know in the comment section down below. If you like what we do here, please check out some of our other videos. Please make sure you share, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Jesus Christ, that was a long one. I didn't think it was going to be that long. I don't look at these articles beforehand. You're literally getting me reading it, and sometimes my reading is terrible because it's too long. My brain gets lost in what it is. I don't read it ahead of time. I read it on stream live with you guys and then give you my thoughts. I know, Cubsy. I'm getting that as I was reading it. So I'll have to try to break it down and try to pull out the bigger parts. I'll have to try to break it down in the edit. There's a lot of stuff in there, right? And obviously, it's just Peter Moore. You can take his opinion, you can take my opinion, or whatever. Honest to God, when I read these things, I don't read them ahead of time. I look at the article and go, "Oh, that'll be good. That'll be good to put on stream." Right? I didn't think it was going to be fucking 25 minutes long. Except Nintendo. They still want to make the game at the toaster console. Nintendo is happy on what... Look, Nintendo sold cardboard. Remember that, Altern. Nintendo figured a way to sell you a cardboard box, and people bought it. Right? Nintendo can do what they want. And they're okay with their market. Do people forget that? Do people forget they sold you cardboard boxes that look like a robot or look like a piano? And people were okay paying for it. Exactly, Eclipse. And that's why they went mobile, right? And look, Nintendo's not stupid. Okay, Nintendo's not stupid. They don't want to put their games. Okay. They don't want to put their games out there, but they got Mario on the cell phone. Okay, they got Mario on the cell phone. They don't need it to be a 1-to-1 ratio of this game's on mobile. Okay, but they got themselves on mobile. They're not stupid. Yeah, the Halo conversation in 2007, that's 6 years after the game came out. Right? That's 6 years after the game came out. And they're like, yeah, we're thinking about third party. It was a small, brief moment, but they were thinking about it. They were thinking about putting that on the rival platform. Right? So you better believe they're thinking about it now. And they did. They put it on PC. Right? It's been on PC for literally 2 decades. Yeah. It came out Halo Combat Evolve 2001, November 15th, 2001. The game was also ported to Windows and Mac in 2003. It's been out for 20 years, 21 years. Right? Halo's been third party for 21 years. Shadow says Nintendo literally sold more consoles than PlayStation, Xbox combined. Sure, Shadow. But they also are never going to sell 200 million copies of the Switch. Hence why they have to get it up, right, to the next Switch, right? Their saturation point, even if they sell 200 million units, that's it. Microsoft is not going for sell consoles. They're trying to get 200 million people, 300 million, 400, 500, 600 million, billion, right? Like they're trying to get as many people as possible. Krebsy says, all I know is these companies have been sharing what they're doing for months. It's not years now. And some people still aren't listening. Right, Krebsy? It's like they can come out and tell you, we're going to be putting everything on the other platform. Everyone's like, la, 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 not listening. Not listening. It's not about bleed blue, bleed green. Nothing to do with that, right? You'll never get that on mine. You guys can... Some people come in the chat and try to throw their fanboyism at me, okay? I don't give a shit about any company, okay? I talk about the business, and I try to make people aware of what's happening. It's been happening for years, okay? I've been saying what Xbox is doing for almost 6 years, and now everyone else in the industry is finally like, yeah, Microsoft is going third party, and they're putting all their stuff on television sets, and they're coming out on as many platforms as possible. Right? If I was as big as like Asmongold 6 years ago, okay, people would be like, oh, wow, look, 30 said something. But I'm not. I'm a nobody on the internet. By the way, NVIDIA GeForce Now will start to roll out one-day memberships, so you can use your premium version for a day, and then free one is having ads. Future of xCloud. Well, they're also doing the Bolt. What's the other one? There's GeForce Now is doing the cloud gaming. Bolt. I forget the other one. We had an article. My brain's not thinking. On Thursday. Bolt Force. What the hell was that one? It wasn't Bolt Force, was it? I just made that up. I forget what the other company is called. Hold on. Boosteroid. Right? They're doing, yeah, it's your Crane company. No, the Boosteroid, where they're doing cloud gaming on Boosteroid now as well. Right? Look, it's happening faster and faster. More exponentially is going to happen. Interview with Asmont. I've reached out to a bunch of big streamers. They don't even open up the emails. You know when you can see if they opened it up? They don't even open it up. You might get back to me. I would have to get into like the 100,000 range before anything like that happened. I would love to interview a lot of the bigger streamers. Not to interview them for like, oh, what's going on? Not about topics. It's about them. Is what I want to interview them about. I love seeing Star Wars. The Battlefront collection is like top 7 top sellers of the Steam right now. That's awesome. We're gonna be playing that on the 14th. We're playing on Xbox that night. So if anyone's on Xbox and want to play, I'll probably pick it up at a later date on PC. The reason I'm picking it up on Xbox is because my son wants to play, and if I get it for PC, he can't play. So it's a better buy for me if I buy it on Xbox. Titan says 30. Do a fake Monster Hunter run blindfold, then you can interview. Right? No, it doesn't have crossplay. That's the one big down factor of it, Altern. It's cross-platform, meaning if you have PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5, you can play with each other. If you have Xbox One or Xbox Series SX, you can play with each other, and then just PC by itself. I'm not sure if Windows does cross-platform with Xbox. I'm not sure. I don't make content like that, though. Like clips would be... I guess maybe I do, because when I do the breakout video, maybe. I have one more story, but I don't have time to talk about it. I got a doctor's appointment this morning, so I could talk for like 15 more minutes, and if I start the story, it's going to take longer than 15 minutes. The story that I was going to talk about was Skull and Bones looks like it's doing worse than Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, which is just funny to me. Because you could take Suicide Squad and do it to any other game, but they always bring up Suicide Squad because the title Suicide Squad brings up the uptick of their views. I mean, I could show you, right? I can show you, right? Just even if you just go to my here, right? Even if you go to my videos, right? I'll show you. Let's see. Where is it? Where's my playlists? Right? If I bring up my Suicide Squad videos, they get more views. Now, I don't shit talk it, right? I don't shit talk it, but all of my Suicide Squad videos do much higher than the regular videos. Okay, right? Now they all almost break over 1,000. A couple of them are just the patch ones and stuff. They don't get over 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. Okay, they get up higher than other ones just because of the name Suicide Squad. Because people come in that are not fans, they'll go to the comment section and shit talk the game, and that's what it is, right? That's what it is. I think crossplay will be on there. Good enough? I don't know. I wouldn't hold my breath about the crossplay. Do you think adding a new section to Discord for interesting videos would be a good idea? Or does that already exist? In our Discord... Here, let me bring up Discord. In our Discord, Krebsy, we have the voice chat section, right? We have the Helldivers section that's just separate right now. Usually, whatever a game is like hot topic that we have. Otherwise, it gets put down to everything gaming, right? Everything gaming in there is like Starfield, Transformers Reactivate, anything that becomes like super popular within our community, I kind of like separate it so people see it more. We have our podcast section, right? We have our general stuff, right? We have everything superhero, and we have a categories underneath that. We have movie talk, right? So under video game, don't we have game trailers? Yeah, we have game trailers. Everything gaming has game trailers there. Do you want me to make it like something different than that? Like I gave a sports section because a lot of you guys wanted to talk sports, and I was tired of seeing like all wrestling inside the general chat. Okay, and then we have everything wrestling. We have general sports talk down here. We have everything Star Wars section, right? Those that want to talk Star Wars. We got movie talk. We got everything superhero, which is more than movie talk, right? If you want to talk superhero game chat, shows, movies, news, book talk, comic book talk. React section. React in what way, Titan? Like what would the React section be? Like someone posts a gaming video, a movie video, any kind of video, like a TikTok video. I mean, that's basically what general is, right? Like you could throw something in general and show people if you're interested in some sort of game or video, right? And then if there's a more of a conversation, like a specific topic, you can go to that section. Like link it, right? Like you take that video of someone put it in general, link that to the other channel. You guys let me know, right? I'm very active on Discord, right? So if you guys are members, I'm very active. I constantly talk on Discord. Oh, if we also have a Brotato video up on 30 and Still Gaming, right? You don't have to like there's a membership there, but I don't want anyone really becoming a member over there, right? You can sub to the channel if you want, but it's more of a viewership, right? So if you're a member, I'll post the announcements of the videos I post on 30 and Still Gaming, the post on Nerding with 30. I'll post it in our Discord in the announcement section. But this is our main channel. So if those of you that want to become a member, when my Nerding at 30 ever gets monetization or 30 and Still Gaming, don't ever become members of those two channels. I would rather the membership over here. So I'm not even going to put memberships on those other channels. Those are literally just for ad revenue for people viewing it. So long term, whatever. So if you guys like the gameplay stuff, make sure you hit that like button over there, because if you get them more likes, then I'll make more content of that game. If not, it'll be like a one and done type of played Brotato. No one watches it, then I won't make any more content of Brotato, and then I'll go to a different game and whatnot. Basically trending stuff. I guess general works for interesting videos. Yeah, I mean, if not, I mean, I can make a separate video section. We have, let's see, I think we have another thing as well. Let's see, we have game trailer section. We have, yeah, because we have a bunch of different ones, right? So we have game trailer section. Then we have under, where is it? Movie talk. We have film trailers under there. Right, and then if you had a Star Wars one, you could put Star Wars video underneath there. If you had a Marvel one, you could put it there. You could put it in general. I mainly asked this for me and Water. Example, throwing investing videos into GXG section, having a video section would help clean GXG up slightly. Well, you could just take those videos. I mean, I can make a video section, Krebsy, if that's what you're asking, but are you just asking to put for that section? I mean, I'm okay if you put it in there, because you putting it in the submitted stories. The only thing I don't like about what you guys do in the submitted stories, if you guys see a video or an article, you guys start talking. The submitted stories is literally just for that purpose, is to submit the story, and it's for me to go down and pick what I want to talk about, right? Right? And then when more people start talking and then replying and all this stuff, I lose everything. Hence why when we go to submitted stories, I always put the breaker. Sometimes I miss it, but I always put this here, right? Submitted stories for episode 387. So anything below this point makes the cutoff point, and I could talk about it on GXG, or I could talk about it in these morning shows, leading up to it. You have hate boner for folks that have a hate boner for Suicide Squad. No, I have a hate boner for anybody that talks shit about any game that really they don't know what they're talking about. That's what I have a hate boner for, Vandal. I have a hate boner for people that say a game is dead, but it's not really dead. And if a game sells 1 million copies over here, it's super successful. But if another game sells 1 million, it's a dead game. So technically, I have a hate boner for stupidity. I bought that cardboard shit for like $90, and my son played with it one time. I'll use this as an example. Asmongold covers Sweet Baby Inc. Where should that go? Well, if you want other people to engage with that when you post it, then you could put it in general or gaming talk, because it's part of gaming. Right? So if you put that video under gaming talk, then it's about gaming. So if you want to engage. Now, if you want to submit it to me to talk about it or make a video on, then you would submit it to the submitted stories. And you could submit it in both. You can put it, if you want people to interact with it and talk to it, then take that video and put it into general gaming. Okay? And if it's just a general thing, you put it in general chat, because then people can talk with it, right? Yeah, in Suicide Squad marketing, they said they didn't want people continuing playing the game, and they wanted them to come back throughout the seasons, but it's a dead game. Right, Eclipse. But they'll miss that part. So, again, as Vandal was asking, yeah, I have a hate boner. I have a hate boner for stupid people. Yeah. All right. Tonight, we're going to be playing some video games. I'm not sure what we're going to be playing yet tonight. I might pick a new game, or I might just play. We might go back to, maybe we'll play Brotato on stream, or maybe we'll play some Division. We'll play something. But I'll decide that later in the afternoon. And then we'll be back tomorrow morning. We also have uploads. I have another gameplay. I played, what's that game? Gunbolt. The Warhammer 40K Gunbolt. I played that. That'll be up sometime this week on our other channel on 30 and Still Gaming. That was pretty interesting. It reminded me of Doom a little bit, like the old school Doom. Like old school Doom. And then we have some videos later this week that we're going to talk about. Force Gaming posted a video this weekend. We'll probably react to that probably Wednesday. Give it a couple more days. Right? That's what it's called? Bolt Gun? Isn't that what it's called? that wrong? Yeah, bolt gun. Sean Layden did an interview on What's Up PlayStation. Can you react to that? Yeah, Ghost. If it's not already submitted in the story, in submitted stories, someone can submit it, or I'll look it up later, and then we could talk about it tomorrow morning, or Wednesday morning, or Thursday morning. I'm not doing it today. I'm about to get off now. I got a doctor's appointment. Ash says, if you had control of 343, what would you do? If I was working for 343, if I was Phil Spencer, what's the difference? The difference would be like if I work for the company 343, or am I Phil Spencer and I have control what I want to do with 343? If I was Phil, I would close 343, or I would take him off. I wouldn't close 343. I would take him off of Halo. I would take him off Halo. I would ask them what game would you like to make? I think it's relevant for what Peter Moore is saying. Okay. I just don't have time to react to it now. Yeah, I would ask, especially with that Halo, or not Halo, that Microsoft is such a larger company now, that I would put a full bulletin out to all the developers that are under the umbrella of Microsoft and say, who's interested in making a Halo game? Who can make Halo into something that it was once before, right? You know what I mean? Because Phil even came out and said, going to studios and asking what they want to do. And I've said that before. He came out and said that. I said that people that are interested in what they want to build are more passionate about that thing. Okay? But if they're forced to do something, then they're kind of like, it's almost like actors don't like to act like a famous period piece person, right? Because they're just acting as that person, right? Which is fun, but they can't really be themselves or try to come up with a character, right? Like Johnny Depp, there was no Captain Jack Sparrow. He made Captain Jack Sparrow and had a much more fun time doing that character, right? Now, if someone else came in after him to try to play Captain Jack Sparrow, it would be shit because they would have to mimic what he was doing, okay? So when you're 343 and you came in, you're not making a fresh game. You're trying to act like Bungie when they made Halo. So they're trying to make that game like what they made the game, and you're never going to make that happen. Okay? So it's very hard for them to do it. Okay? So if they want to like reboot it, if they want to do something else with Halo, try to change it up, and when I say reboot it, I'm not talking about making a female character or anything like that. I'm talking about fundamentally like what God of War was and what God of War became. Do you know what I'm saying? Like God of War was a side scroller, and now Halo, you know what I'm saying? Where they can make it maybe in a different way, which they try to do with Infinite, where it was more linear, and they try to make it more open world, and they failed dramatically with it, right? So they could try to do something else with that brand and with another studio that wants to do it in that way, instead of trying to be what Halo was and duplicating that with a company that really can't do it. But to answer your question, I would just take 343 and go, hey, what do you want to make? And then try to find someone else that wants to make Halo. Like think about what Grand Theft Auto was to what it became. Think about what God of War was to what it became. Right? Certain games one way, and then they kind of evolved it. Drop the 18-month stuff, put someone intelligent into management, and release a game when it's done, aka give them time to cook. Right. But find people that are passionate about it. And if 343 is passionate, you can have the most passionate people in the world, but they might not be good at what they're trying to do. You know what I mean? Like, you can pay and bring the best people, but they just don't gel. And when they don't gel, it just doesn't work out. Sports teams happen. It happens all the time with sports teams or movies, right? You think you get the best people together to make that thing, and it just doesn't work. You can be passionate, but if you get forced out the door, you'll look like a fool. Yeah. And I think Phil said it a couple months ago. He was like, yeah, when we're buying all these companies, he's like, I'm just kind of flying everywhere and finding out what they want to make, what they want to do, right? Like, sure, right? The same company that's making Call of Duty is making Call of Duty, but maybe they want to make something else. Do you know what I mean? Like maybe there's 3 companies that are making Call of Duty. Maybe one of the companies like, you know what? We would really like to make a different IP. I don't know. But we'll end it there. I gotta go. I appreciate you guys coming out and hanging out with me this morning. If you like what we do here, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you like to go above and beyond and become a member as little as $5. We do live shows, we do uploads, we do podcasts, and we do gameplay. We also have another channel that's becoming back up and running, which is 30 and Still Gaming, which was my main channel 2 years ago. We're just throwing gameplay over there, so make sure you guys check that out as well. And then also, we have another channel that I never really promote, which is Nerding with 30, which on Friday nights, we're going to try to do the same type of format we're doing here, but with entertainment news and whatnot, and have conversations about that. I appreciate it very much. I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.